The morning I came home from the grocery store and found my driveway empty. I stood there for a long moment in the cold March air, bags in both hands. Then I went inside, set everything on the counter, poured a second cup of coffee, and started making a list. Let me take you back to how it all started. My name is Alina Marsh. I am 73 years old, and I have lived in the same small town in central Ohio for 41 years. I raised 3 children in this house. I buried my husband here 8 years ago. And every Tuesday morning for the past 11 years, I have loaded the back of my blue Buick with stacked Tupperware containers full of hot food and driven them to 12 people in this town who cannot easily leave their homes. Marge Hendricks, 89 years old, diabetic, sharp as a tack, lives alone on Sycamore Street. Frank Dobbins, who lost his wife 13 months ago and still sometimes forgets to eat. The Nguyen sisters, both in their late 80s, who speak limited English, but always say thank you with their whole faces when I hand them the containers at the door. 9 others, each with their own story, each waiting on Tuesdays. My neighbor Carol helps me cook on Monday nights. We put on the radio and make a proper evening of it. Carol handles the soups. I do the main dishes. Between the two of us, we have fed a lot of people in 11 years, and I have never once thought of stopping. My 3 children are David, Linda, and Paul. They are good people. They love me. But somewhere in the last few years, they have developed a habit of deciding things about my life without asking me first. Small things at first. Paul switched my phone plan without asking because he found a better rate. Linda signed me up for a meditation app. David started texting me links about fall prevention and balance boards. I never said much. They meant well. The first time driving came up was a Sunday dinner in January. David mentioned, very casually, that I might want to start thinking about my relationship with the car. He said the roads were icy. He said many seniors choose to transition around my age. I said that was very interesting and passed the green beans. Linda started sending articles. I read them. Some were reasonable. I did not stop driving. Then in early March, all 3 of them showed up on a Saturday morning. Together. I knew before I opened the door that they had been on a conference call about me. They sat at my kitchen table and showed me a county senior transportation brochure. They said it was reliable and ran 7 days a week. They said they had also spoken with a dealer who could take the Buick, and that everything was already arranged. Their voices were gentle. Their minds were made up. I told them I did not want to stop driving. I told them I was perfectly capable. I mentioned my record. David said, "Mom, we're not saying you're a bad driver. We just worry." Linda put her hand over mine and said she would feel so much better. Paul said it was already arranged, said it like that settled things. What none of them thought to check was the filing cabinet in my bedroom closet. I have held a valid driver's license since I was 23 years old. 50 years. Not one accident. Not one ticket. Not a single fender bender in any parking lot anywhere. I know because I keep the paperwork in a manila folder, alongside every other important document I have ever owned. My late husband used to say I could produce a receipt from 1987 in under 4 minutes. He was not wrong about that. But that Saturday I was outnumbered and tired, and I said I would think about it. I should have been much clearer. That Monday, I walked to the grocery store. 1 hour and 15 minutes, round trip. When I came home, the driveway was empty. My phone held a group text, "Mom, we handled it. The shuttle number is on the fridge. We love you." I stood in the doorway for a moment. I looked at that empty driveway a little longer than I needed to. Then I sat at the kitchen table and I thought about Marge. I thought about Frank. I thought about 12 containers of chicken and rice, already portioned and bagged in my refrigerator for Tuesday morning. And I thought, they have absolutely no idea what they have just done. I did not call any of them that day. I made a different call. But first, I went to my bedroom and found that manila folder. I brought it to the kitchen table and sat with it for a while. 50 years. Not a mark on it. I had been careful for 50 years and I had been good at it, and nobody had ever had a reason to question it. I sat with that for a few minutes. Then I picked up the phone. I called Petra Simmons, my insurance agent and my closest friend for 30 years. I told her exactly what had happened. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Alina, let's talk about a truck." I also opened my laptop and pulled up my savings account. $14,000 sitting quietly, which my children knew nothing about. A woman who has managed a household budget since 1978 knows how to set some aside over the years, and I had been doing exactly that for a very long time. Tuesday morning, I called each of my 12 neighbors. I apologized and told them I was working on the situation. Marge said, "Honey, don't you worry about me." But I heard something in her voice that I didn't like. Then, by Thursday, the phone started ringing at my children's houses. "Mrs. Patterson at the library heard from Marge and called David, worried about me. Pastor Green called Linda because Frank Dobbins had mentioned at his Wednesday group that the Tuesday meals had stopped, and he wasn't sure I was all right. The county senior center coordinator called David directly to ask about the route, because 2 clients on her list depended on it every single week. David called me Thursday evening. "Mom," he said slowly, "how long have you been doing this?" 11 years. I said. A long pause. We had no idea. No. I said. You didn't ask. I asked him to come Friday evening and to bring his sister and his brother. Friday afternoon, Patris rode with me to Hendricks Ford on Route 9. A 2021 Ford Ranger, blue, 52,000 miles, $11,500. I had my mechanic Ray inspect it the day before. It was clean. I wrote a check. I drove it home with the windows down, and the radio playing something old that I couldn't quite name but knew every word to. When my children arrived at 6 o'clock, I had tea on the table. I let them sit. I let them settle. Then I set 3 things down in front of them. My driving record. 50 years. Printed and certified. A handwritten list of 12 names, with their addresses, their dietary needs, and how many years I had been serving each one. And the receipt from Hendricks Ford, dated that afternoon. David picked up the driving record and read it slowly. Linda looked at the list and put her hand over her mouth. Paul picked up the receipt and looked at me. You already bought a truck. A Ranger. I said. More practical for the containers. David started to speak. I raised one hand gently. I wasn't finished. I told them I knew they loved me. I knew they were worried, and that worry comes from a real place, and I was not dismissing it. But selling my car without my consent, arranging my life without my voice in the conversation, was not love. It was fear dressed up as love. And there is a difference, and I needed them to understand it. If they ever had a genuine concern about my driving, they were welcome to come along and see for themselves. My record was there whenever they wanted to look at it. But 12 people had been waiting on Tuesday, and 2 of them had gone without a hot meal because of a decision made at my kitchen table without me. I did not cry. I did not raise my voice once. David looked at the table for a long moment. Then he looked at me. Mom, I'm sorry. I really am. Linda said, I should have asked. We all should have asked. Paul nodded. He didn't say much, but Paul never does. He reached over and covered my hand with his. I told them what they could do. Starting next week, someone needed to call Marge and check in. And if any of them ever wanted to join us on a Tuesday or help cook on a Monday night, Carol and I had room. That was 3 months ago now. David installed a magnetic phone mount on the Ranger's dashboard, so I have navigation hands-free on the whole route. Linda comes to cook on the first Monday of every month. She is not as fast as Carol, but she is getting better, and she doesn't complain about it. Paul researched insulated carrier bags that keep the food warmer through the entire delivery run, and he ordered me a full set without being asked. The senior transportation brochure is still on my refrigerator. I use it as a coaster for my coffee mug, and that is exactly the right job for it. Every Tuesday morning I back that blue Ranger down the driveway, containers loaded in the bed, radio on. Marge waves from her window on Sycamore Street. Frank comes to the door now, even on cold mornings. The Nguyen sisters still say thank you with their whole faces. Nobody decides when I stop. I decide that. And I believe my children are beginning to understand it. Tell me in the comments, has someone ever made a big decision about your life without asking you first?